Hello, everyone. And
That's a perfect time to smack the microphone.
I'm so sorry.
Hey, everyone, wake up!
I was gonna hold it together, but literally, as I clicked unmute on the audio, I wasn't even looking. I just heard this.
My bad. I smacked the
Goobers?
shit out of my
That was
mic.
really funny.
Goobers not only fucks the entire show with his weird audio problems that delays us, and then we get going and he blows out everyone's ears by like cock slapping the mic.
To be honest, it wasn't that loud for me, so I was fine.
Good. I'm glad.
I think
I'm
that, I
glad.
think the problem is that Rod has everything turned up to 500%, which is why everything is loud for him.
So
What?
hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Beserkr, which is well, it's a Viking show, obviously. Anyway.
not related to the Japanese anime.
That's
of
all
the
you
same
get.
name.
That's all you get for the lead-in. It's a Viking show. Sit down and enjoy it. Damn it.
What the Japanese it's oh no, it is an anime as well. Beserkr is nothing to do with Vikings.
No, that's what I'm saying. We're Beserkr. We're similar to, but legally distinct from the Japanese anime of the same name.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't
Yeah.
lie though, Sheepy told us in the back we're using the My Little Pony system. It's very, very in depth, but
I'm Captain Rainbow Sparkles.
Sorry, I have an intro.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, shut up, guys. God, stop punching the mic, you unprofessional dicks.
God's sake, yeah. This is the Wandering Inn. We do TTRPG roleplay shows. Mostly shows, more than games, but you know. We do roll occasionally. In the last episode, in fact, we rolled a fair amount, which was kind of impressive. Well done, me and
It was awesome.
If you enjoy the shows, then please do consider heading on over to Patreon predominantly, where you can pledge to support with a little monetary goodness. It helps me create more shows. Essentially, for right now, we have one slot, which I consistently violate that rule, and I do 2 shows at the same time, but that's fine. As long as I don't do it all the time, I won't bankrupt myself. See, it's funny because in context, I'm currently recording another show and in the process of recording 2 other shows. So currently there's about 4 shows almost being recorded. So,
Bro.
super not important. Anyway,
Bro. That's a lot.
I know. But they're recorded stuff. They're not live shows, so it's different and
Listen, rationalize it however you want, man. We're here to support you.
We're your support staff.
So yes, Patreon, check out the website, the Discord, and there's Twitter as well. If you want to get notified, Discord, Twitter's the best place. If you are interested in supporting the show and the Patreon and stuff, there are some benefits. For example, you can write an intro for me. I've read a couple of written intros. They are quite torturous.
That's amazing.
At a certain tier of patron, it's possible. Or if you've been a patron for a long time.
That's awesome.
The last intro I read out heavily called me out on a lot of stuff. I had to talk about how I liked making girls cry. And how I was,
oh my god!
And how I was desperately looking for more men. Spoiler alert! I have a few men. I have a few men that I can put on my shows.
Are they good? Can you call them a few good men?
Yes, I have a few good men.
So like these intros are just like they just are gonna result in just like it's not a show intro. It's just a roast Sheepy every week.
I think it's pay to bully. I think is how it works.
But go sign up for that Patreon tier, okay? Please, for me. Don't do it for him. Do it for me, okay? I want to hear him read something, okay?
I'm sure someone will submit a if you ask them to, like, just like this, someone will submit an intro for next week.
Please do.
And of course there is the campaign coming up. I'm going to be running a pirate campaign based in the 7th Sea system for the patrons at the $50 tiers and higher. If, however, you have been a patron for a while, say for example a $10 patron for like 5 months, you can join in for a session because loyalty should be rewarded. And I think that's what people do. They have like loyalty cards and shit like that. Like I'm just copying all the big brands, you know.
I love the idea. Of people
Make sure to bring your punch card for next week.
It's just the upgraded Oyster card. Just got a logo on it.
Aside from that, I think there are other announcements, but I may have to leave it till to next week because I cannot remember any of them. So just know that those of you who support in any way, massively appreciate it. A little neuron just fired in my brain, which reminded me that if you like, you can throw a super chat into the live stream here on YouTube, and at the end, we will read them out. We'll answer any questions you have. I seem to remember the last time we had quite a few super chats, and none of them were questions. They were all just like, "Hey, enjoying the show." It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. You can also ask us any questions, okay?
Yeah, there was also, I distinctly remember last time we had super chat about our diaper budget for the cast members who don't have to pee in the bottles anymore.
That's right.
There was also a question about how historically accurate it was. And
please keep your super chats coming because we need those diapers. Okay.
We're very close to a second fully funded show. We're pretty close to that, right, GP?
Yep, getting close. I'm not sure of the exact closeness, but definitely very close.
Yeah.
And past that, oh god, there was something else I was gonna say. Oh yes, those of you who have a keen eagle eye may notice we do not have a cat here today. That is because it was touch and go as to whether she could join the show. It just turned out she wouldn't be able to. Last week was a last minute emergency, and at this point it's got a bit too busy and complicated for her to make the show. Made more sense for her to step back. Having said that, I won't rule out bringing a guest in, maybe to play. Oh, we could get someone in to play a pathetic Englishman who gets their ass kicked. I know just the person. Excuse me while I DMP.
Is it Domestic Dan? Can it be Domestic Dan? I'd really appreciate it if it was Domestic Dan. Thank you, Sheepy, for making it Domestic Dan.
What?
Okay.
I mean, maybe it would be the person you're wearing a shirt. That would be helpful.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, not only
that also would be hilarious.
Not only would I give him the insult of having to play an Englishman as a Welshman. Which,
I was about to say.
Okay, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
He'd also come on just to get demeaned and have his ass whipped, which are all kinks of his. So you know.
Can we name him something like Ethelred or Engelbert or something like that?
Yes, definitely.
Engelbert Humperdinck.
But it's possible it'll just be us, but just as a heads up. Also, today we are on Discord because we had some technical issues, which is why we've started late. Apologies for that, but as long as nothing goes...
You can blame my weird setup.
As long as nothing goes wrong, hopefully everything should be fine, which is a statement that does not need to be said. That's always true, but... I'm pretty sure I have it so that my Discord won't make any noise at any point, aside from obviously this call, but you never know. It could have a random person being like, oh look, they're all in the Discord, jumping in and being like, hey guys, in the middle of the show. That could be fun and interesting. Could have random Discord noises. That could be fun and interesting.
Have you considered streamer mode? Because that will turn off the...
I'm not on the app, that's the problem. So.
Oh, right.
Listen, we'll roll with the punches. We got this.
Yes, everything is fine. So,
So remember, chat, if you want to interrupt us, we are in the Discord.
No.
None of them are in this Discord, so they can't.
No,
Oh, thank
that's fair.
God.
Would have been funny though.
Fucking, what's wrong with you, dude?
it becomes the ventrilo of user has joined your channel.
Yeah,
user has
right.
joined.
No nightmares.
And yes, so having said that, shall we have a quick chat about what happened last episode before we find out what will happen this episode?
Yes, please.
Last episode, we met. Ooh, I'm gonna have to get my notes up quickly. The names. We met Sven Hjorganen, Harold Ulfhednar, also known as Wolfcoat, who is definitively a sheep farmer and not a sheep fucker.
He's a sheep fucker also.
There's a distinct difference between the two. I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive. I'm just saying they're not the same thing.
Is there really a difference? Okay.
And Leaf Vind. It's not his last name.
I was given the last name.
Is that?
I did a very quick search for on the wind, because then you'd be leaf on the wind.
You tried to do a funny, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but it just gave me the word for wind, so I was like, oh, fuck it,
Yeah.
that
See,
works.
this is like when you tried to do the duet thing on QT, and everyone completely over my head.
Yep. Yes, we met all of them and found out that the Jarl Gudbrand, was planning a raid on the English coastline, something that has started up recently because the English coastline is a lot more profitable, rich, the land's fertile, and it's not just crappy soil with crappy trees everywhere. No offense, Scandinavia, but you know that's what your land is.
I'm not gonna dispute that.
Don't even get me started on Finland.
Look, we got a lot of lakes. Yeah, you got anything else? No.
Oh, so Minnesota, got it.
Yep.
It's basically like the Florida swampland, except for colder and with more trees, right?
And fewer snakes. Yeah. But
And less Floridians. I mean, Floridians are a big problem with the Florida thing. So
From what I hear, Finnish are fairly large problems themselves. So I don't think quite.
I don't know about Florida problems.
they have problems in the east.
Is there
Welcome
a Twitter
to the
account
show
called...
where we make enemies of an entire state and country in the matter of 2 sentences.
You know what? Fuck you, Florida. Fuck you, Finland. F states. F states. F countries. Fuck you, France. You suck.
I hope my professor doesn't watch this because he's Finnish. It's gonna be a case of I was going to give you a pass with distinction here. You're not getting that.
It's the random Englishman on YouTube hating on Finland for no reason. They didn't do anything to deserve it. Yes.
Florida did.
Yes, no, that's true.
Florida did. Yeah, they know what they did.
But yes, Jarl Gudbrand sent out his, let's call him for the moment, like assistant, herald type administrator, who was called I don't want to fuck up the names, but whatever. Radulfa, who went to see both Harald and Leif, as they are landed. Would vassals be appropriate, do you think? Or I think my history brain is saying like herdmen, but I don't think that's accurate. I think that might be just English.
Yeah. But I think it's accurate.
Okay. Essentially, call them men at arms. When it's time to go raiding, etc., they go raiding. When it's not, they work the land. Some of them farm sheep. Some of them subtly try and shag their neighbors' sheeps. Like, whatever, you know, it's...
I feel attacked.
Why is there like a sheep fucking economy now? Like, I don't.
Oh, I think...
Why? Because it's a 4-hour walk into town where all the women are. That's why.
Yeah.
God damn it.
It's much more convenient to just fuck sheep.
Oh my god.
Convenience matters, Goobers. Convenience matters.
There's so many moral wrongs that are happening here. But you know what? Fuck it. We just murdered a whole bunch of people, peasants. So morality is out the window when we started this show.
They had weapons. It didn't help them, but they had weapons.
Hey, who started it? Who fired the first shot? Because it wasn't us. We were coming there to give them. We were coming there to teach them about sheep fucking, and they decided to like shoot us with arrows instead. And so here we are. So it's not our fault. Just because we were
rationalization going on in this episode.
Yeah. The Viking raiders. You don't need to rationalize it. But Rodolfo let them know that the raid was happening in the morning and to come down for a thing, which honestly in this instance was pretty much just an excuse for some drinking and for some axe throwing competitions, which I don't remember. Oh god, I don't remember. Was it? Yes, you got blind drunk, Leaf, and then rolled like a extreme success, crit success.
Yeah, and the single.
But then he what was it like? You rolled like an extreme success for the hit, and then you rolled like dog shit for your constitution.
No, it was my constitution beforehand, and then the extreme success of the it was.
You got very drunk, but still very good at throwing axes. That's a professional, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
exactly.
And in the morning, after a little bit of bonding with Sven and his companion Aki, who professes to be good with the bow, but in the last episode, the only thing Aki hit was Sven.
Shot in the fucking back.
Yep, right in the shoulder blade. A little bit of bonding with some adventurers, with some wandering, call them mercenaries, even if you like, who are coming along on the raid, and they headed out, set sail for the not sunny shores, for the shores of England.
Rainy shores, foggy shores.
Foggy, rainy.
The shitty shores.
We did have a lot of fog on the way.
On the way, there was a small incident where the fog got so thick that people started seeing things, and it was a little bit weird and creepy. But then everything was fine when they got out the fog. They saw the coastline of England, the beacon fire was lit, and a hasty, small English, not even army, just like a set of English soldiers formed on the beach to repel the invaders. They fired some arrows, a shield wall was formed, and then the... Is it correct to call them Beserkrs? Because I think you're is it Ulfserker or something?
Ulf Hednar. It's the wolf version of Berserker. So Berserker means bear shirt. Ulf Hednar means wolf coat.
Yes.
Skin changers, essentially.
Yeah. They amped themselves up, charged at the line. Harald and his brother Eskil kind of tore things apart quickly, as Sven also joined the fray, got shot in the back by his mate Eskil, and then didn't really notice it, to be honest. I think got hit a couple more times by arrows and just kind of like shrugged
It's all
it
in
off.
like my arms. Like I essentially like would like take the hit with my arm or whatever, but
and then proceeded to rip the throat out of one archer, just bisect another one. It was all rampage and craziness, bowled straight through the English attempt at some form of shield wall, and very, very quickly, things turned into a bit of a massacre. The English panicked, and they ran away off into the forest. So, with that little bit of, not sure the best way to describe it, but with that little bit of information, we will rejoin our Viking raiders on the beach. I would say that the Jarl would, once the English have fled, the Jarl would see to it that everyone started unloading the boats, just any equipment, any gear that needs to be pulled out. And yeah, I think would probably designate a couple of the raiders at least to guarding the boats as you go further inland, just purely because there's a possibility that one or two stray English soldiers who, you know, they might find their way back here, think maybe to destroy the boats or whatever. So, does anyone have any? I guess probably not any like specific gear you're grabbing off the long ships, right?
Access.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I do have an actual wolf coat that I wear, but other than that, I don't have any, like the climbing spikes and hooks with ropes and stuff. That's not me. Someone else can open the door. I'll bust through it.
I would have gone back and grabbed my sack with like all my stuff in it essentially, and that would be like, specifically it'd probably be like, it'd have like some like salves or something like that, and like so I could pull the arrows out and get them in there, and then also fucking make Aki pull the other one out of my shoulder and then apply some salves to that, you know, some bandages if I'm like bleeding profusely, and then in addition to that I would have also gotten a few torches and some, you know, flint and something to light them with.
And in fact, as Aki is helping you, like, you know, just get the arrowheads out, the majority of them were, you know, kind of like dealt with, aside from the arrowheads, some of them. He's kind of like helping you either, like, you know, blot up and wrap the wounds. Says, how did you manage to get shot in the back?
Well, how many of you had bows back there?
I don't think anyone was shooting bows. We were all headed towards the shield wall to help you. After you broke it apart, it was pretty obvious.
And then Sven just looks at at Aki's bow that's, I'm sure, like on his shoulder or something like that. And he's
100%.
just like, I guess it was the wind.
Crazy melee.
Just arrows and swords going everywhere. Couldn't have come from anywhere except for the English.
I mean, they had
English-
all of the archers really.
The English had the magic arrow.
I
At the
love
grassy
it.
knoll.
I love the idea of Aki just standing there, absolutely pretending like it's like, oh, it's looks like the rain. I don't know what happened to that distinctive fletching that I am the only one who uses.
Yeah, right,
How did that end
exactly.
up in you?
I've seen you literally make these arrowheads yourself.
Exactly.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, he does he does paint his he does paint a little like either red or like kind of ochre band on his arrows so that he can see who he's managed to take out and retrieve them.
It's just like
It's the
clearly there.
it's this joke from The Simpsons, right? That Nelson does. I've painted my arrows red so I can see who I hit.
Yeah.
It's essentially it. You see, I can claim this victory because it's 4 arrows in this guy. I was like, yeah, but that's your friend. Oh yeah, about that.
I hit him at least.
It turns out that Aki's like fame for being a good archer is actually just him painting all of his arrows red, so it looks like they all hit.
I
Confirmation bias.
Yeah.
I love the idea of Aki going, I hit every arrow. Like, yeah, not where you're supposed to though.
Yeah.
But statistically, I hit everyone.
My God.
He just
Yeah. So
he just
I get over it. I'm not gonna push it too much, but I'm just like, can you fix that, please? I can't reach it. And regardless of like who hit me with the arrow, I'm still bleeding. Would you mind?
Of course. You know what is interesting is this part of the shoulder is really hard to bandage, so it's actually awkward for me as well. It's quite difficult because it's quite an awkward location to bandage up.
Aki, just wrap my damn shoulder!
Of course, yes. No,
God damn it.
I'm just saying, you're not the only one in pain here. That's all.
I'm an
Just
empath. When you feel
Yeah.
pain, I feel pain. Let's not get bogged down with who shot who.
Do you have any idea how painful it was when you got shots? Like,
I'm suffering as your
hurt
friend.
me.
Aki is like the Viking version of like Larry David. Like everything's about him.
Am I being fucking gaslit by my bullshit archer friend?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my God.
Alongside that, you do have, I would say, given your roles and given how things played out, I'd say you have a couple of serious injuries. I don't think any of the raiders even died. I don't think there were any deaths in this little skirmish here. Even though
professionals versus militia.
Yeah. Even
Peasants.
though there were more of the English, they're not used to that type of ferocity and that type of kind of full-on mentality. And so they broke pretty quickly. They lost a fair number of soldiers, or soldiers. So you see a couple of people being bandaged up. Let's say I think like one person has like a partially severed arm, you know, just where they took a bad sword stroke. But aside from that, the majority of the rest of the raiders are getting ready, getting their packs out, anything that really is needed. I would say most likely Sven, you and your compatriots, of which there are a few. It's not just you and Eskil. There is a shield maiden called Beserkr, who is with you as well, and a couple more raiders. You would probably all have your own kind of let's call it like I don't want to say adventuring pack, because the more I say adventurer, the more it sounds like you're a D&D party. But
I mean, I honest to God, like you could probably call it mercenaries, because it's like, yeah, the Jarl isn't paying us, but he is paying us in like sharing the the loot that we get. So I would say it sounds mercenary-esque.
Yeah. I'd say you all have your own kind of call it like a survival pack, basically, like enough to set up a fire and rations and etc.
Bare necessities.
Yeah. Or wolf necessities if you're wolf coated.
Yeah, no, that tracks.
I'm not proud of
I
that one,
appreciate
actually,
it.
to be honest.
I
No,
appreciate. I thought it was
better,
good.
you better fucking not be proud of that one.
But yes, as a note as well, it wasn't much of a big interaction, but Leaf, the Shield Maiden, who you had a bit of a chat with under the romantic meeting in the Rain of Arrows. Yeah, like she's getting set up and packed up and everything. The Jarl is not precisely in charge, if that makes sense. He's not running around ordering. He's just kind of stating things that need to get done, or giving vague like outlines of what needs to get done, and people are just doing it. It's
mid-level management.
Yeah, more along the lines of everyone knows what has to get done. Everyone is experienced and familiar with the setup and situation, so there's minimal need for management. It's more just kind of like, make sure you got everything out of the boats, and people have mostly got everything out of the boats.
Gotcha.
I would say after maybe about 20-30 minutes, just purely because there's not too much to patch up, aside from a few unfortunate people, you're about ready to move out. The Jarl, everyone kind of forms up, and the Jarl, kind of, to a degree, addresses you. It's not some, majestic thing. It's just basically, okay, so, the town that we're going to is about 45 minutes through these woods. To my knowledge, there are no strong paths to follow, so make sure you don't wander off too far. It sounds like a school outing.
Everybody back here in 35 minutes.
Make sure.
I mean, everybody that he's working with is like foaming at the mouth, and they can think of kill, eat, and fuck. Like that's all they can think right now. So
That is fair.
Make sure you have your raiding buddy, and that you hold hands all the way through the raid. But yeah, he says, we're going to go to the town. Probably at this point, there's not going to be many soldiers left, but if you do see any, feel free to kill them. Alright, form up and let's go. And he pretty much turns around, starts walking up the bank, up into the trees that start to form a little ways away from the beach, from the shore, and I'm assuming, unless anyone has something else they'd like to do, which I don't think so, but always allow the option, you all start heading into the forest, off towards the town. Hey. Now, going through the forest is something that I think all of you do on a regular basis. I would say especially Sven, being a bit of a wanderer with your group. You spend more time in the wilderness than the others. And there is a difference between the forests here in England and in the vague area of Scandinavia that you're from. One of the things is that it's a little bit thicker. The tree cover, the foliage and everything. Being midsummer, it's day a lot longer, but the tree cover, especially in the thicker areas of forest, is pretty all-encompassing. You get occasional like beams of light coming in through, but mostly it's reasonably dark, actually.
Is it just like, so it's like really thick canopy up top there, not letting a ton of light down, but is it also like filled on the bottom with like bramble and shit, like it's really hard to traverse through?
Bushes and brambles and
Oh god, gross. Okay, so it's dark and shitty. Love it.
yes.
I can imagine you going into the woods going,
Brother, ew.
It's like every haunted woods from every like
yeah.
fantasy thing ever.
I'm not completely super confident on this, so LZT, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here.
Absolutely.
I feel like in Scandinavia the forests tend to be a bit like more sparse, and the ground tends to be more rocky and less like I don't want to
Soil.
Yeah, like there's a lot of, it's very soil, it's very moss, it's a bit wetter, it's a bit,
It depends on where you are, but if we're from like the coast, yeah, it's pretty much all rocks.
yeah. So
Did not.
market difference, but at the very least, the signs of either animals or people are there to see. You do occasionally come across a vague animal track path or a person track path. In general, they can often be the same things. For quite a long time, humans in heavily forested or wooded, etc. areas would quite often just use the same paths the animal used, as it was already cleared to a degree. My question is, on this kind of fairly long 45 minutes or so trek, is there anything that anyone would like to do or does, or again, just in case there is something?
I think Leaf is gonna walk up to Sven and like make sure he's gonna pat him on the back with the non-injured side and be like, "How did you manage to get shot in the back there, Sven? It's a quite impressive task. A feat that you managed to pull off."
Hey, is that
know-
is that like a deer or stag over there? Oh no, it's just it's just,
I don't know. Maybe you should go try to eat some of its shit.
No, it's just some branches with like moss on it.
And I just like Sven makes a very clear look back at Leaf and just like like
I don't know how I got shot there.
I'm really not sure. It must have been the wind.
Oh no, not that excuse.
No,
And I'm just
not the wind.
Like, it was fucking Aki.
Yeah.
But he's in denial and I don't care. So whatever.
Hey, Aki, next time can you keep your arrows pointed at the people we're attacking?
My arrows were pointed at the people we were attacking.
It's just
Sven
someone in
is
the
just
way.
like, nah, I'm not. You're fighting your own battle now, dude. I'm fucking.
Aki, you were the only one on our side that had was shooting a bow. You were the only one.
No,
And he got- if
there were other people. There was at least 2 others.
I don't think they were behind Sven though.
I love the idea of one of us holding one of the arrows at the same time, going distinctive fletching. This stuff.
That's weird.
It's okay, Aki. You were part of this raid, and I mean, I could see Sven being a pain enough that you would want to shoot him, but Just come to terms with it.
No,
The fuck?
I would I would never. See, the thing is in battle you have to learn to be accurate enough that you do not a wayward arrow or anything like that does not hit someone on your own raiding party or like. And I've been an archer. I've been a hunter long enough to know when I hit my target, and I always hit my target.
And Leaf's gonna take out a knife, one of his knives out, and just like twirl it around on his hand, and then like chuck it into a nearby tree. Like, I know what you mean about always hitting your target. And then he goes and grabs it, and then wanders back and goes, "Sheep fucker, where are you?" Oh,
I love the idea of Leif throwing the dagger on the handle hitting, or just the flat hitting.
Yeah, I always hit my targets.
Yes, seeing as you have indeed invoked the dice gods, Leaf,
Let's go.
would you please
Oh.
roll me your throwing knife?
no! No!
Suck it,
Good.
nerd. Suck it.
Good.
It's a marginal failure, but it's a fail.
In the interest of the scene, I am going to say that when you take your knife out, balance it expertly on the tip of your finger for a second, flip it, grab it by the blade, and fling it at the tree. No look. There's like a pregnant second before you hear. Oh!
No.
Wait a second, who threw that
Please
knife?
be an English spy. Please be an English spy. Please be an English spy.
You know
Yeah, I
what?
meant to do that. I saw him sneaking up in the tree there.
You know what? It was going. It was 100% going to be a member of your raiding party, but it makes much more sense and is funnier for it to be a cowering English soldier hiding in a bush as you're passing by.
Yeah. I meant to do that.
Just
That was
like
that.
that.
That was what I was aiming at, by the way. I mean, obviously, this coward hiding in the woods needed to be dealt with.
Sven just walks up to this guy.
It's like got
Looks
a,
him
got
straight
a
in the
knife
eye.
like in the throat, like just gurgling and slowly like
And-
losing the last of his life.
And Sven just kind of looks up to him and goes, "Huh." And obviously in a different language, he says he's just like, "That sucks." Then he just grabs him by the head and yanks the knife out and gives it back to Leaf as this guy falls over. Jesus Christ. And I give it back to Leaf, and I'm just like, just let him have it. I'm fine. Just let him have it, okay?
I'm gonna grab it,
All right.
and I'll be like, just had to give him a little bit of shit. I mean, you guys know, when you're at a party, you harass those you love.
I don't think that's a saying.
Aki,
Well-
go keep walking, all right? We got shit to do. Also, mind you guys, Sven is like so tired he's almost hallucinating during all of this. He that was a whole other thing that happened during the whole thing. He didn't sleep at all during the boat ride over.
Yeah.
Then he went and fucking fought a battle where all the adrenaline in his body was pumping. He's barely standing. He's so exhausted. He's just like, shut up and keep walking. Ah!
Maybe there's a bed and breakfast on the next hill.
That poor Englishman. Oh my God. Just.
Well, they had to go somewhere, I guess, and yeah.
Yeah.
I would say probably, as you say that, Aki says, Sven, there's really nothing to do except for walk and talk.
Well, then walk more, because talking is not on my menu.
And yeah,
It's like Sven is just like weirdly like staring and like he's trying not to like maybe fall asleep or something. He's just big breath, you know what I mean? Like just trying to keep himself alive, whatever, or
Chugging Red
awake,
Bull.
I should say. Yeah.
And Aki kind of like leans back behind Sven over to Leaf and says, he's had a bit of a rough day. He didn't sleep much last night.
I'm assuming he was having nightmares. Nightmares about getting shot in the back.
I think actually at this point Begrun, the one of your other mercenary companions, she kind of shouts from a little further back behind. She's kind of like, she's with you but a little bit further behind and just sauntering a little bit. She says, hey Sven, do you want your bottle?
What?
And then she
A
like
bottle.
she like reaches down behind and brings out just like a kind of bottle of some form of essentially fermented.
So sort of like
LCD
like an herbal brew of energy or something.
I was
Mead?
thinking, yeah, more like mead or something along those
Ah.
lines.
I love the idea of them being with us, but they don't want to be seen with us. So they're keeping their distance like, those guys are fucking nuts. I'm going to stay over here and make sure that I don't get caught up in whatever twingy arrow backstabbing bullshit's going on over there.
And it just kind of,
Just a little bit.
yeah. Puts his hands up. Can I roll to see if I catch that?
Sure. Let's have a little look here for a second. I would say dexterity would work for you. Sleight of hand would work for you.
Probably just gonna do dex, and
Yeah.
then if you'd be kind, I'm gonna do it at disadvantage
Okay.
because it just feels right.
Oh damn! Yeah, no. Looks like the fate has got you catching it, and not
Oh,
getting
God, did I-
beamed in the face by it.
Hell yeah! Oh my god!
Woo.
Sorry, the window was covering up chat there. Got it. Hell yeah! Just well, just kind of cracks it off and just I'm not gonna just like toss the whole thing back, but like I'm gonna drink it all as we walk, So
And yeah, Aki is like, honey is good for wounds. It is the disinfectant.
Wise.
thank you,
wise-
Aki. I've used it many times.
Ignore the fact that it's something you put on you don't drink.
Yes.
I love the idea of you going, well, mead has got honey in it, and then just pouring it into your fucking wound on your back.
Ah.
It may be fermented, but it still got honey.
Oh God. Do we see like anything on the way there? Like we're in the woods and stuff, and it's shitty and gross and stuff. But like, is there anything else like on the way that we see that's worth investigating or whatnot? Because we haven't made it to the town yet, right? We're going to the town,
Yes.
The monastery, right?
or
No, the
Oh,
town.
no, right.
The town.
Monastery
Yeah.
is on the hill, and we're heading towards the
You're heading
palisaded
towards
town
the-
thing for.
Yeah,
Yes, I remember.
So, that is a good question, and that is why I will ask all three of you to roll me your occult, please.
Ooh,
Oh
occult.
no. This didn't work well last time.
Okay, 6.
But you're good at
65.
this.
I am good at this, but the last time I didn't do it, it was
Hey,
really
success.
bad. All
Nice,
right, here we
Harold.
go. How? 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 This is the second time I have an
80%
80.
success rate. You failed.
I have an 80. Ah!
But I succeeded. Woohoo. Maybe
I'm happy
maybe I
for you.
succeeded because I'm not caught up in whatever bullshit conversation is going on behind me. Maybe I'm paying attention.
No.
In this instance, as you're walking through the forest, the kind of small banter and you know little back and
Oh,
forth.
sorry.
Jeez, you're not riding
Huh?
anything, and you failed
no, I
three
was try-
times anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna reduce my writing to 0 because I would never write anything, and I was
Right,
trying to click. I forgot to press edit mode.
As you are headed through the forest, it goes from, you know, occasional back and forth kind of chatter. As you get deeper and it gets a little bit darker, it becomes more crowded with trees and foliage and everything. It slowly, the conversation starts to drop off. I think the main thing, you know what? I'm just gonna lean into the fact that we're rolling a lot. Could everyone roll me listen, please? I would say probably. Oh, okay. I was actually gonna give you the option to edit it a little bit, but you don't need it when you roll a 6, I guess.
I can reduce my listen by 2/3 and still fucking succeed. Nah.
So
Man,
my listen is.
I'm
a
on fire
20.
today.
What would that be? What would I adjust that?
Yeah.
I would say anywhere from like 30 to about 50 probably would be around
Okay.
what I'd expect.
Just gonna get myself.
I increased
40 then.
mine, but I increased it afterwards. So I still succeeded.
Yeah.
I'm on a roll of failing every single roll today. so
Hey,
far.
welcome to the single digit club. Unfortunately, you rolled one more than me, so
Because he raised his first, got an extreme success as opposed to a hard one.
yeah.
Listen, man, the game is saying that I'm better than you, okay? But like, I just
You got 7
just
on a
reading
40%
what I'm
success.
seeing,
I
you
got
know,
6
just
on a
reading
20.
what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So the thing that both of you have started to notice is there isn't really anything in terms of like ambient background forest noise. So as you get quieter and the banter slowly recedes into nothing, it is just the sound of you walking. The rest of the forest is pretty deathly silent. No birds tweeting, no animals in the distance or anywhere. Just the sound of crunching feet. And yeah.
And the sound of a knife passing.
Rod, did you mean to roll that?
No, I didn't. I was
Okay.
I was adjusting things as we
Suddenly
went through.
there's just a knife.
As a note for everyone watching, the Sheets has an edit mode, so you click on it to edit. If it's not in edit mode, it will just roll it. So this is why we're occasionally getting rolls.
I was gonna say.
Apologies.
I was gonna say when we listen, I think the reason that Sven can hear it is because he's used to being out in the wilderness and kind of being on his own, so he needs to pay attention. And the reason Harald can hear it is because he's watching over the sheep usually, so he needs to keep an eye out for predators and stuff. So he sits on his lonesome rock and looks out and listens, basically.
And
Leaf's just too busy being like, God damn, I want to throw another knife.
Yeah, I think Leif is usually busy fucking his goats or something.
God damn it.
It is what it is.
Apparently.
is. So what I will say is you start to experience that silence, and I wouldn't say it's anything that scares you or it's anything that stands out too much, but you know, sometimes there are some places you go to where you just naturally get a bit quieter, like, you know, like some churches are a good example. You like walk in there and you find yourself whispering for no reason. That
You don't want to break the silence.
Yeah, the atmosphere of like required silence, or like required quiet. So
Yeah.
you do notice that some of the other raiders who are along with you start stepping a bit lighter. They're trying, like almost subconsciously, not to make noise. And Leaf,
Yes.
as you're walking, it starts to get darker and darker until, while you can still hear the rustle of leaves and the sounds of like your footsteps, you stop seeing the trees. The trees kind of fade into blackness, and stop passing you by. You're now just walking through a void of darkness.
I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna stop and just be like, "What the flying hell?" Because I mean, obviously, I don't want to keep walking if I can't see anything. I'm gonna run face first into a tree or something like that, and just be like, and I'm just gonna like slowly 360 like turn in a circle and be like, "What kind of demon is causing this chaos? What? What?" And I'm gonna be like, "Hello, hello."
The shout or the call you make is immediately like smothered and muffled. Like it doesn't echo. It doesn't even feel, you know, that feeling like when you're in a like fairly small padded room. It's got that kind of feeling of like closeness, and just like the noise doesn't feel like it traveled anywhere. It just,
And he's gonna pull out two knives, one knife in each hand, and just be like, "What?" And it just like constantly turning because he doesn't want to like you can't see anything, so it's like, this is a cursed time. And just twirling with his knives and just looking for anything, looking for a sign, looking for anything to like figure out what is happening in this fucking forest of hell.
and you start to be aware of other footsteps finally. As you're kind of like looking around in front of you, you hear the rest of the raiders, like, you know, stepping, catching up with you. And then depending on what you do, they turn up to right by you, essentially.
Can't. Is it? Are you all? Do you? Is the darkness overlapping all of you? What? What is this? What is this?
And you hear, Hadun near. don't believe you speak this one.
And then I'm trying to face that. So wherever I can, is it like coming from one direction, or is it like, or is it coming from like all around?
Behind you.
And then just fucking flip around like like 180 real quick and just start like jabbing my knives out a little bit, like.
Oh, okay, yeah. As you like spin around and like jab your knife out, the knife just slides directly into this kind of like silhouetted it's not really like fleshy tone, it's like slightly gray. You've probably seen like dead bodies before. It doesn't exactly look, rotted or anything. It just looks kind of like grayscale, and the knife just like slips into the chest of this kind of very basic looking person. Like the eyes are black, so there's no like eyebrows, there's no eyeballs, it's just kind of like a vague darkness. There's not really much hair, the skin is wrinkled, everything is gray. And as the knife slips in, the head just kind of like tilts to the side, and they say again, like, "Are doing there?"
And you guys are at least gonna slide out the knife, and is gonna grab the other one and scream and be like, "Ah!" and plunge the other knife into the heart of this body, and just fucking, it's stab, because what is this fucking possessed demon entity, whatever it is? What is this thing from our world? And just like,
Well, so when you plunge the other knife in, the hands come up and grasp like your wrists and like hold them there. And the grasp is like iron. Like it is solid, and it's not like crushing or hurting or anything. It's just holding you in place, and it means that you're essentially face to face with this thing, which means that you see as its mouth like slowly opens slightly, a small like red ember in its eyes starts to like expand and get bigger. I'm assuming like Leaf is still struggling a little bit, like just to so kind of like struggling.
As much as you can.
The light gets bigger and bigger, and soon like expands past this thing's eyes and like fills the entirety of your vision with this like almost blinding red like haze. And like there's a second where you're overwhelmed with like pain in your head and like this kind of overwhelming feeling of like rage and anger and desire for revenge. And then as quickly as that feeling hits you, you feel a hand on your shoulder. Hey, Leaf. And it's Aki, and he says, "What are you doing? You stopped. We're still going. It's got about 15 minutes or so left till we get there. You need to stay."
Leaf is gonna swing his knife up to Aki's throat and be like, "Well, did you see that?"
And Aki like slowly brings his hand up and like softly, like not forcefully, but softly kind of like starts pulling your hand away from his throat. And he says, "All I saw was you standing still in the forest. Unless you think you've seen another random soldier hiding in the bush. I think it's just us here.
Oh. It wasn't a soldier. It was a dead body with red eyes. And it was speaking a language I don't understand. I uh,
Did
and it
Sven give you a drink from his bottle?
no. Sven didn't give me anything.
Hmm.
It grabbed me, Aki, and I couldn't move. The forest, all the light disappeared.
It's pretty
These
dark
woods are
here.
cursed, Aki. These woods are cursed.
Okay, but well, can you move now?
I mean, I assume I can move now.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but I can move now.
Well, that's good. Because we're falling behind from everyone else.
Quick
I'll get-
aside.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sven would have like okay. Given the interaction that's happened and the fact that Aki is like kind of one of his people and this Leaf guy is just holding a fucking knife to his he would
make
have
sense
said
to you.
something, but also I was kind of I rolled really bad on the occult thing, but though I got something on the listen, and it was more just being like, is he coherent? Is anything bullshit happening to him that would impede him from being like, whoa, what the fuck is going on back there?
Also, does he notice? Is the other thing.
That's true. That's very true.
So, yes, you would notice.
Okay.
No, nothing is currently happening to you. So you essentially, what would have happened is, Leaf would have randomly just stopped and kind of stared straight ahead into nothingness.
Yep.
And Aki was just kind of strolling, like looked back, saw that Leaf had stopped, went back to see what was going on, put her hands on his shoulder. Leaf came back, knife to throat. So if you'd like to kind of like hurry over and be like, hey, partner, what
I would have been like Harald, and I literally just say his name and I point and I rush back to see Leaf with a knife on his throat. Luckily Aki was able to pull it away, but I'm just like, I get there as they're having this now conversation where I'm just, what?
So I
Was
would
that?
probably know Leif well enough to know he wouldn't pull a knife on someone without like a reason.
No, and I'd say all of you, even Aki, realized that it wasn't like a threat, like I'm going to just stab you. It was like a little panicked worry, kind of after action reflex.
It was a. Is this thing the same thing that was messing with me and like fucking grabbing me and that was a self-defense thing. Yeah, it wasn't like an aggressive thing. It was a. If you are what fucked with me, leave me the fuck alone because, yeah.
So I would like to. I'd like to like go on guard essentially and look around and see if I can see anything because I see Leif is clearly like riled up and shaken. So
we can go off your previous like listen if you like.
Yes, 6. So I did very well on that.
No. Aside from the small commotion here, you have the same silence. People have started. The rest of the raiders have started to like stop and hold up, and there's some whispered kind of like, "What's going on over there?" And etc. But aside from that, nothing.
If I go up to Leif, can I see like tracks?
From him?
from something else that he's seen. I'm very good at tracking. This is what I do. I gave myself the highest score in tracking because that's the thing I do.
If you'd like, you can roll, but
I mean, if there are no tracks, there are no tracks. So I can't track the wind.
what I can say is based off your good tracking skills, there are no signs of anything aside from the tracks you have been leaving.
Okay. Then I say nothing and I put my axes back and keep moving.
There.
Sven looks back at Harald like, the fuck? Late?
Keep
Or
moving.
not?
These woods.
Sven
are
doesn't know
cursed.
Leif like that, and he just looks at him and goes, I don't care what you're scared of. You don't do that. And then he walks away. He's like, what the fuck is that?
Maybe these cursed woods will come for you next, Sven. Maybe.
And he just kind of keeps walking and does this as he walking past, like, well, I don't fucking have time for this.
Yeah. Harald will definitely be on his guard now, though.
Yeah.
If there's bullshit around, bullshit meter will be observed closely.
And Aki,
Leaf is not putting his knives away.
yeah, and Aki kind of like gives you a bit of a side eye as he like turns and walks off and says, "Well, if you stay here, you're going to be left alone in these cursed woods, so you may want to catch up."
And Leaf will let them like walk a little bit, and then he just looks around again and like does a whole turn again, and just doesn't expect to see anything, but is like knows there's something out there and is uneasy, and then he runs back to the group and makes sure he's like with everyone.
Yeah. I'll say that. Do you want to go off your previous listen roll, or would you like to roll again?
Fine. I mean, I'm gonna do another one because
Would you like to keep your death roll, or would you like to try again?
Jesus Christ!
Okay.
Oh, you're really shit at this.
Oh, God.
In the as you're looking around and just kind of like seeing if there's anything you can notice, because you're now like on guard for weird fuckery. You hear the almost like it's the closest your brain can kind of translate it to, and you don't hear it very well, but you hear the creak of branches.
So I'm like, Leaf's looking up in the trees and like half expecting to see like a figure in the trees or something like that, like a human-sized figure in the trees after that, because where else could this great thing have gone, you know? So he's just like, and starts like sweating. There's just like a sweat pouring down his brow now because he's fucking horrified.
I will say, as a note, it is still, aside from that, as quiet as it has been, and there is no wind, so the trees aren't moving.
Yeah, but it's fairly dense woods, right? So that would make sort of sense.
Yeah. And you catch up with the group, and you all continue walking.
And very quietly, Leaf is characteristic. You know what I'm saying? Quiet, because yeah.
Sven is okay with that because he's just like, I don't know what the fuck that was, and if I don't hear any more bullshit, great. Otherwise, bad times.
Yes. I would say, as you're getting closer to the, as you're getting closer to the town, or where you think the town will be, there's starts to be a few signs of, like, you know, a tree stump here or there that's very clearly being cut down, or a little bit of, like, extra extra kind of, like, not movement, but, like, paths and etc. There's more signs of activity, specifically human activity. As you're walking, Sven, there's a point where you catch your foot. Like, essentially, you know when you, like, accidentally, like, slip your foot under something, and it kind of, like, causes you to, you know, you try and move your foot, but it's just, like, held down.
Yeah.
There's a moment where essentially you catch your foot under, like, a root of a tree or something, and it just, you know, it feels like it's being held down, and you kind of stumble slightly.
I would like to catch him.
Okay.
Seeing as we were walking kind of next to each other, I would love to just reach out and grab him by the back of his shirt so he doesn't fall on his face. Not because I'm a nice guy, but because I'm a nice guy and we don't want to make too much noise. So it's like,
especially getting this close.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Roll for that?
No. I would say that's something you can do fairly easily.
Cool.
And yeah, it essentially you're stopped from from falling over or anything like that. You just got that foot trapped.
Yep. And I kind of, like, as he's holding me, and I go, ah, and I pull my foot out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I just look back at Harald, and I.
Well, so as you like, kind of go to, like, get your foot extracted, it's just moss, man. Like, your foot's not under anything.
So there was no trap?
No trap, no root, nothing for him to catch his foot on.
Oh, wow. This forest is full of dicks.
He just kind of does this, and he expecting to have to pull his foot out, and then he looks down and just sees it's fine, and then he looks back up at Harald and just kind of, thank you.
Would you like to roll something for that? I could have a look to see if anything would work for you.
I would like to do something in the way of maybe tracking or something to see if, because, you know, it could be, if it's moss, it could be soft in below, so it could have a suction effect, and that was what holding his foot down or something like that. I'd like to throw my eyes at that.
I would say yeah, tracking, natural world.
Okay. Success on tracking.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, it's the highest skill I have is tracking.
So to paint the scene a little bit, I imagine, like, Sven, you kind of get that stuck sensation, and, you know, stumble a little bit. Like, Harold kind of catches you and steadies you, and then you kind of, like, go back to deal with the, like, root or whatever it is you have your foot stuck under, or whatever's, like, you know, got your leg trapped or foot trapped. And then there's just nothing. You're just standing on, like, the bed of the forest. And
I would imagine that there's, like, a moment of, like,
yes.
I noticed that, and then I look back to Harald.
You look at Harold, and it's like you both kind of, like, go, huh? That's weird. And then Harold, like, goes down and, like, kind of runs his hand across the floor of the bed of the forest and through the moss, just, like, putting pressure down, seeing if there's anywhere. No, it's just a solid bed, you know, solid forest floor, basically. there's nothing to get your foot stuck on really.
Does Harald say anything? Like, does he tell me that, or does he just kind of look at me?
I'd probably tell you that, yeah.
And then I just kind of look back at him and I just kind of go, sorry, I didn't sleep very good. Let's keep going. It's fine. I must have seen something. I don't know.
As you're walking, question for you, Sven. Is this something that sticks with you, or is this something that you dismiss from your mind currently? Both are valid answers, to be honest, given the situation.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that I forget about it. I intentionally am just like whatever, and I would say that
that makes sense.
That probably is also exacerbated. That decision is also like further emphasized by the bit of mead in my system.
Yeah.
You know, like a little bit of alcohol in my system. Like, yeah, like I'm just like whatever, it's fine. I don't need to think about this.
Yeah.
We need to move.
And also it's following the current trend, like what happened earlier, where it's like with Leaf and basically being like, you know what? It's been a day for me, man. Like, I don't want to know about any of this bullshit right now. And yeah, very likely you just got your foot, you know, it kicked up some moss or something, you know, like just got tangled.
It's one of those things where it's like you ever try to step up another step on a staircase that isn't there, and you make the motion and then you kind of go like that. Like it's that kind of thing where it's just like I think that there is a route there, therefore like I start doing that, but it wasn't there, so it's fine. Whatever. Just
and every
I'm
time
tired.
every time you do it, you're glad glad that there was no one there to see it, because you feel like a bit of a silly dick, and you know.
Absolutely.
In this instance, of course, Harold had to be there.
100%, yeah, absolutely. I was just like, whatever, forget about it. Let's keep moving, you know.
So as you start,
I would like to, when we investigate his foot moss situation.
Yes.
And like nothing immediately comes up, says, "Oh yes, there was this thing." I'd like to whisper, but like a stage whisper, a whisper that carries a little bit to everyone around me, to like, mind your footing.
And there's
so people like at least know somewhat that there's bullshit going on.
Yeah. I will say
Sven doesn't realize if he's doing that to be kind to Sven, or if he's doing that as like there's something.
Yeah.
But he's just like,
I don't think Harald knows himself why, like what's the main reason for doing it. He's just like, okay, people should be aware of this.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And as you know what, for right now, you're still walking. It's still quite quiet. However, if there is anything that could be or needs to be discussed before you get to town, now would be a perfect chance, as Sheepy realizes that he needs to pee before he does the bit with the snake. So feel free to have a little bit of a convo, you know. Won't be long.
Perfect. Will do. All right. So this is the part where we shill for diapers.
What is with Sheepy's bladder?
Well, I'll tell you what's with his bladder. The same as what's with mine. Be right back.
God damn it.
I already peed, so we're good. But
yeah,
we have a bunch of adults that don't know how to hold a bladder.
Yeah, I've just been rolling physical dice here. That I was bored while you were having your tripping balls section. So,
I mean, I was attacked by a dead body. So
yeah, no, but the chat brought up Draugr, which would be you know what Draugr, you played Skyrim, so you know what it is. But it's, I was thinking that would be a thing that you might be familiar with, because that's very common in like Norse folklore stuff. Undead wandering things, essentially.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that until after like that.
Yeah.
Like, because I didn't look at chat during any of that, but I'm like, yeah, it
that
was.
that would make sense if that was your like conclusion. Like, oh yeah, no, that's fucking Draugr. That's what it is. There's
Yeah.
obviously like a burial thing close by, or like a barrow mound hill thing, and it could be something like that.
I mean, yeah, there's towns around it, which means there are bodies, and it was speaking some language I didn't understand. So yeah, very much like Draugr coming for us.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Ugh.
that would be weird for a Draugr to do, to actually speak like English or I don't know, Esperanto or whatever he was speaking.
Yeah, whatever.
Since you didn't
Yeah.
know the language, I don't know, it might have been Japanese.
I mean, we wouldn't know Latin. Would we know Latin?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So maybe it was Latin or something. Who knows? I mean, because Latin was like in England for a while, right? Like, I mean, because the
Oh.
Romans were there, and then, yeah.
I feel like if you saw, you guys were talking about like if you saw a Draugr there or whatever in your
Yeah.
vision, if that was a Draugr, like I feel like because we're in a different place, it's talking a different language, and I don't know, like you would know, right? Like that's
Yeah, but also I don't think the concept of Draugr being would be unique to you. A Viking wouldn't think, a Norse person wouldn't think, oh, Draugr, that's a thing that we have back home. That's just
that's
a
fair.
thing that exists.
Yeah,
so
that's
if you
totally
run
fair.
into an undead person, you would go like, oh, it's a Draugr.
Draugr.
They have those here as well. Obviously they do. So probably there's a burial site or like a mound
Yeah.
or restless
makes sense.
spirit or whatever.
It's kind of like how a Christian would be like demon, or you know, you might see something small and scurrying and be like leprechaun, or you know, whatever. That's like,
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Just assume
society.
that everyone knows about it,
yeah.
or it is what yeah, that's fair. That checks out.
and yes, apologies. I suddenly realized that we were coming up to the town, and I was like, that's gonna take a while, and I don't really want to break it up with me needing to pee. So.
That was why I went when I did. So.
Yeah. Okay. So in that case, as you get closer, you start to hear vague sounds of civilization. It sounds reasonably hectic and fairly loud. As you start to hear these sounds, a couple of warriors, you can see one running down the other side of where people are slowly walking up quietly. One runs down your side and kind of like goes from person to person. Probably would reach Harold first, because I feel like Harold would be a bit more central and further forward than the others.
Yeah, and also if he has a managerial position,
Yeah.
it would probably lead a small group.
Yeah, and they just this is something that they come up to everyone and say, and they just say, the Jarl says, "Be quiet. We're going to see if we can take them by surprise. It's possible they haven't closed their gates yet." In this situation, I don't think I'm gonna ask for a stealth roll or anything along those lines, just purely because while there is a degree of alertness, there's also a mixture of panic and busyness in the town. So unless someone was to literally start shouting and banging and shit, like small noises aren't going to alert anyone. So do let me know if any of you do decide to start banging your shield and shouting or anything, but aside from that,
Have another one of those hallucinations. Fucking.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk.
Hey, we went out into the woods. What did you find? We found about 50 Vikings tripping balls, and we decided to leave them to her. You know.
and in that case, you kind of get up to the point where there is a clear-cut area, very clearly being cut back around. There's almost like a circle around this palisade, a set of essentially wooden fence surrounding, and I'd say fence intentionally because honestly it's barely a wall. The
Oof.
yeah,
Oof.
it's
I like the idea of like a very nice painted picket fence.
yeah,
With
no.
like a very nice garden on the other side and a guy with
This
a
will
rake.
keep the raiders out.
Yeah,
They never
exactly.
dare destroy our beautiful fence.
It would also be very English. I put up a sign that says, "Don't step on the grass. No one will come over here." Savages.
It's very unsporting for a chap to step
Yeah.
over my fence. My fence
Excuse me, sir, can't you
designates
see the
my
gate over there?
territory. This is my land. You can't just step over a fence. What are you, a savage?
It's the scene from Asterix when there's a guy with like the tiny hand sickle and the lawn is immaculate and it just reaches down, pulls out a blade of grass and goes ching and cuts it off.
Yeah, when you get there, you see that the gates are unfortunately closed. And it is to be fair to them, it is a wall. It is just very weak looking, thin stakes almost, all bound together.
Does it look more like this is to keep wildlife out rather than wild people?
To a degree, yes. It also looks like if someone was told, if like a group of people was told, you have to build defenses, but they don't ever think they're actually going to get attacked, so they kind of half-ass it to a degree, where it's just like, whatever, like, it's not gonna,
We have fulfilled the letter of the law. Yes, but it's shit. I didn't say it had to be a good fence.
It's kind of like building a roof, but there's loads of holes in it and stuff, and then it's like, well, it's never gonna rain, so it's fine. But today it is pissing it down, so I think at this point, trying to decide if the Jarl is just going to announce you all, or this may come down to a roll.
What do we know what day of the week it is?
It would,
because I know they do this in the Viking series, but it's also a good tactic. Attack on a Sunday when people are at church.
So at least a few soldiers sound like they've come back. So there is a definite amount of action and I wouldn't say necessarily exactly panic, but like the flurry behind the walls of people who are quickly either gathering their stuff or desperately trying to make the defensives more defensive. That type of thing. So, do with that what you will. I would say that at this point, with the gate closed, the Jarl kind of steps forward and turns around and says, "Looks like it isn't going to be as easy as we thought." So, no need to be quiet anymore. We're going to walk up to the walls, and we're going to make any noise that you want. And essentially, like, raises his axe and, like, motions to everyone else to essentially form up. Not specifically into a shield wall, but just more kind of like gather up, ready for action.
Sven kind of jokingly was just like, maybe we should just walk up and see if they'd let us in. Ask nicely. Jokingly, hoping he could get a rise out of everybody who is.
Oh,
listening.
Harald will definitely laugh at that. Absolutely. So it comes
And he
from a
gets
long. Remember, he's got 2 kids.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Fuck
Harald's married. He's got 2 kids. He's got that
my
humor
God.
out the wazoo.
Perfect.
Sven, how can we ask them to let us in if we don't speak their language?
Oh.
That's a very good point, Jarl. I don't know.
Oh, that was Aki.
Oh, it was Aki.
Sorry,
oh, okay.
I should
No.
say, as you know, I can't.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I can't.
Yeah.
I love the idea of Sven looking at Aki going like, why you gotta trample my parade,
100%.
man?
Yeah, it's 100%. I was gonna say that's exactly his reaction. It's just like he looks at Aki and just goes, "Dude, it was a joke. What?"
Dude, why did you step on my moment like that?
Everyone else is like laughing, and Aki's like, "I don't understand. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Can
the
you explain
the
further?"
premise of your plan is flawed, sir.
God, just
Killing
get
me,
line, Aki. I'll explain it later, okay?
And one of the shield maidens, Vigdis, says, actually, I have learned some of the language. I'm here to. One of the reasons I'm here is to translate.
Does Harald know Vigdis? Is she like a local?
She's essentially like, I wouldn't say in the inner circle, but a outer inner circle, if that makes sense. You know, she's around a lot.
She's a person of trust.
Yeah, she goes on the raids and everything. Is a pretty decent fighter as well, if a little bit dirty fighter. Like, you know, there's a lot of kicking in the ghoulies and whatnot.
So that person was like, "It." I just like, it's not my raid, but I mean, what if they say okay? Is it gonna hurt? What if they let us take whatever we want and they get out of our way?
It would save some time, but it would be less fun.
True.
And all of this is as you're kind of like, as you're.
Yeah.
I would paint
Stumbling
the
either.
picture. Well, I'd paint the picture as like a group of burly, armored, shielded, helmeted Viking warriors casually strolling up out of the forest. Like, you know that scene when people walk out of the forest, it starts one by one and then more and more come out and then all start
Yeah.
like that kind of vibe. And then as you're all kind of like walking closer, there's joking and bantering and a bit of back and forth. And then
Like, it's like impending doom from the English
Yeah.
view, but for us, it's just like, what are you doing tomorrow?
yeah. And I would say at this point, you see a couple of like heads or like the top of heads kind of like peek up over the palisade, over the like pointed sticks, and you are essentially walking towards the front, towards where you have this like I would say like you could almost feel like you could do a decent jump and grab onto the top of this, but it is essentially like a gate with a door, you know, big enough to fit like 4 people abreast through, if it was opened up. And the Jarl has taken front and center, and kind of stops a little ways away from it, probably like a 5-second dash away from it, pretty much.
I would talk to the Jarl and make a suggestion on how to get in, essentially, which is the shield boost. People walk up to the door, put their shields up, someone runs up, pushes off the shield at the same time as they push up with the shield, so you do the whee and like launch two
Kind
people
of like
over
what
like
I
that.
did
Yeah.
in a more constructive and planned
yeah.
way, but still.
So to get like a couple of guys over so they can open the door.
And the Jarl looks at you and kind of like turns back and looks at it and says,
And when he looks at me and turns around and like, we've done it before.
"Yes, I was actually thinking we would knock."
You just hear Sven in the background go, ha!
when he says knock, Harald does the oh.
And then he kind of looks slightly over your shoulder and shouts, "Eskil, come and help your brother knock." And Eskil kind of lumbers up. Big guy.
Yeah, he's like 6'6".
Jesus
He's like
Christ,
6'6"
he's
and 250
huge.
pounds of muscle.
Holy fuck!
Yeah, no, it's a big family and more ways than one.
to give you an idea that not that he's ever had a solid nickname or anything, but if there was a solid nickname for him, it would probably be Troll.
Yeah. I mean, he's there is a reason why he's a berserker, because he's already a fucking bear.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And the Jarl looks
So
back and says,
Harald is not a small guy by any means, but Eskil is bigger.
the Jarl looks back at the rest of you and says, "Once Eskil has knocked, be ready to charge in. I want at least a few of them left alive. One or
And
two
then just-
is fine."
Just like raises an axe and like we got it.
Yeah. And there's from the rest of the Vikings, there's probably kind of like a ooh, kind of like a cheer. At that point, I would say at that point a couple of arrows are loosely like just fly over the palisade and are caught harmlessly on the shields. Like, yeah, literally it's like phew, and then just like thunk, just a couple of the
I love the idea of a couple of the arrows don't even fly straight. They go.
yeah
No
They
power
turn.
behind them at all. It's like a 5-pound bow.
it really is that type of vibe, yes. And I would say even like maybe one arrow is like going above all of you, and one of the Vikings just puts his shield up to catch it, even though it's not even a threat. It's just like
He's like, ha!
Oh, 3 arrows.
Yeah.
Eskil, he has this big double-handed axe. Probably even did they have? Correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm just playing off the vibes of. Sorry, not Harold. Eskil. Did they have like double-bladed axes, so one on each side?
Double bit access. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Just have to make sure.
They're not super common because they're pretty dangerous to yourself as well. The common ones are the Dane axis, which is the just splits into, and then the beard axis, which is the classic.
And Eskil thwomps forward up to the gate. You can hear like the start of some panic and like you don't understand the language, so you don't really know what they're saying. Then he just kind of like heaves the axe back right in front of the gate, and you almost hear like in a rope is taut, and it makes that kind of like stretching sound, like that you almost like hear that in his muscles as he like as he brings back, and then just woof, and just slams the axe into this gate. The entire thing shudders and kind of almost does like a wave of movement, as it's not super well stabled or anything. You know what? Should we do a roll?
Oh yeah.
Let's do a roll.
I have a
I
couple.
like rolls.
I have a couple of ideas of how this may go.
That's definitely a melee, not a brawl. Or a strength.
Oh, come on!
That is.
That's amazing.
So there were two different possibilities. The possibility that happens is that the very weak like board that is boarding up the gate snaps and the doors fall inwards. If he had succeeded, the thing that would have happened is that the entire wall would, like, the binds would have come loose and the whole wall would have fallen over, like just exposing
my
the
God.
village. So what happens is the one sec. The gates, like struck, like barring it, snaps with the force, and the gates like fly open. And the immediately as that happens, you hear like this kind of reasonably fierce yell as a armored, like padded armor, helmet, sword and shield English soldier rushes out, yelling something in his language. Immediately grabbed, one-handed on. Yeah.
I was gonna say I would love to be just next to Eskil when that happens. So the guy runs at my brother and then just peekaboo, just two fucking axes right into the chest, or try to at least when he's running towards him.
Well, so what I will say is there are a couple more soldiers running out as well.
That's fair.
So as he's like first one out, charging straight towards Eskil, which gets stopped and muffled as his whole front of his face is grabbed by Eskil, and he is thrown backwards, pretty much into the path of Harald. So, you know, feel free to have a swipe at him or anything if you like, as he kind of.
Oh, I
flies
would
past
love
you.
to. Hard success.
Odd success.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Almost three times.
In that case, let's say that as he's flying, like just a little bit over your head, you see him coming in the direction. You just like. And yeah, just. You know what?
Center parting.
Give me a strength roll on this.
Oh no.
Like,
How bad do you kill him?
I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, you're good. So,
Oh,
you give it enough welly that essentially, instead of just burying into and killing him, it like the blades pass through him. So it's like the strength that you throw into it and the momentum he has is just enough to kind of like, you know, not see your axes get buried into him.
Am I
and
covered in blood and gore?
Yes.
Yes, that's good. I'm happy.
And at that point, the warriors, the Viking warriors, charge forward. So, what will proceed is a no contest fight. What that essentially means is that there is not enough of them left to pose you a threat, unless you take one-on-one, want to duel, or you for some reason get caught out in something that requires a roll. So, as the Viking,
And what?
Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh.
I was just gonna say, what is the as we can see, what is the grand total of the opposition kind of look like right now? Like, is it
Probably
just
about
kind of people freaking out?
Yeah, it's probably about 6 or 7 soldiers, and then just generic villagers, men, women, and children.
Oh.
I know. It is on.
Sven just kind of was just like,
I imagine there's a fight for who gets which soldier.
Yeah.
Like, no, get your own soldier. This one's mine. Ha-ha!
That is an interesting point. Would anyone like to claim one of the soldiers for them? Like, because essentially, the Vikings are charging in. It will be respected if you pick one out and just basically go, this one's mine. Or, if you would like, you can just join in the general mayhem and
I would definitely like to grab one, as in going through this guy and going up to the next guy covered in his friend, essentially.
oh.
Do you like my latest dress? Do you like my latest dressage? It's window dressing. It's made out of your neighbor.
He's very stylish. Can you
Yeah,
tell?
exactly.
Okay. And Sven and Leaf, like, what? Let's have an idea of what your starting like beeline is. Where you
Leaf
going?
Leaf is at the back and not really charging in. Leaf is still fucking like rattled from the whole fucking incident in the woods, and is with everything happening. He's like, oh, they'll fuck. He's like, I don't have to deal with this right now. There isn't anything to deal with that is like worth. And he's more like trying to figure out what the fuck happened, and like his mind is in a place right now. So,
Okay. What I will say is there will come a point for everyone where the only thing left is just the essentially Viking pillaging raiding pod. At that point, just because I'm not so sadistic as to make you describe killing men, women, and children, civilians, it will.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. It will essentially.
That woman's holding a fork. She's clearly a combatant.
He's coming right for us. Stab.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming right for us.
Essentially, we will hand wave that part into general chaos and
Yeah.
etc., and we'll move on to the next bit. But for now,
Harald would not be very interested in the looting and the plundering and the
Yes.
murdering of the civilians bit. He's like, that's not my jam.
well,
We'll do that in the monastery later from the riches, and we'll take from their gods. These peasants, I'm not interested in. Like, oh look, I've got a plate. And I'm like, oh, I have another plate. Would you like to trade 2 forks for your plate? I'm like, no, I don't care about your forks and plates.
Sven and his people, on the other hand, would be interested in that. Yeah, Sven's not really interested in the fights with the soldiers. Like, they're there, and if they come up to him, he'll deal with them. But he's had a lot going on other than just the raid and the fight in of itself, that he's just like, I wanna have some rewards and whatever. And so his goal is to get the loot and the stuff and the things, and if anybody gets in his way and tries to fight back and push back, and they don't just like he'll try to like do this, like, get out of the way, like move, whatever, if somebody gets close to him. But if they push back, then he'll immediately just like, okay, and yeah, his group, the mercenaries are, yeah, they're all about this. Give us all that shit. We want your wooden bowls. So, yep.
So, as you are going through the town and you are starting to Viking all over the place. I will say that I don't know whether this will change anyone's minds or anything like that. There is more than one piece of precious metal on furniture, goblets, even jewelry. Predominantly it is gold, but there are some silver as well, and some gemstones too.
If there were, number one, if Sven sees that, I'll speak for Sven, but you could kind of extend this out with, you know, margin of error with the rest of his group.
Yeah.
If he sees any of that, he's fucking beelining it right for that. And if anybody gets in his way between one of those things and him, immediately just like, nope, no, I don't care. Like, I'm not even gonna bat you out of the way. I'm just gonna like cut you down. And he would also contest the possession, if there were a younger, a less experienced, a smaller Viking as well. You might grab it and try to push him off of it. And take that. He knows that it'll all be kind of accumulated and divvied up from there, but it's not about that. It's about he wants the stuff,
Okay.
you know?
I
Just gonna get out of the way.
I will take it as assumed then that you eschew the combat with the soldiers in favor of looting of the precious.
Absolutely.
Leaf?
Sven.
Yes.
Same for you, I'm guessing.
Leaf is gonna be anyone comes up to him, he'll throw a knife at him or whatever. But like he's kind of like lagging behind. He's like kind of not interested in it right now because it's the same thing as Harald. Why like he comes there for the challenge and to get violent and fight, but it's not like he's there to like do all the extracurricular Viking activities, you know, kind of things. So it's he's there, and if he sees anything, he'll grab it, but he's not gonna go. All of Sven and his comrades are probably going to be in all those places first because they're like way more anxious. And also, Leaf's like, I'm too old for this shit at this point too. He's like, you know what I mean? We're like in our 30s. We're old men in this whole fucking, you know, this scenario. So he's like, we're gonna split it anyways. I'm not gonna go out of my way. Let the youngins go and like run in and pick everything up and do whatever. And he would probably try to be fighting if it wasn't for his brain being fucked up right now. But yeah.
And Harold, does that adjust anything for you, or do you still want to?
No, he'd still be more interested in like clearing out resistance rather than it's. We're Vikings, but we're also like socialists, communists in the sense that pile everything together and then everyone shares. This is the precursor. I live here. I know how the society works.
Yep.
And it's a case of, oh, you got a job and you got 500 crowns today. Well, your sister doesn't have a job, so she should get half of that. That kind of bullshit. It's prevalent in my area of the world. So yeah, that would definitely be. So people have different jobs. Like Sven, like, yeah, you're hired to go on the raid. But like, I have a job. It's make sure that no one gets stabbed in the back because they disregarded the farmer as being inconsequential. Actually, he turns out has an actual sword, and now it's in your back.
Yes.
Like, no, I'm gonna get that guy.
In that case, I would not say that you particularly need to roll unless you want to do something spectacularly, you know, out of ordinary in terms of this fight. So I would say most likely within about half a minute at most, you have scored a couple of like hits, open wounds on the soldier. You kind of like cornered for yourself, and yeah, you know, just probably like you're waiting for him to make a proper slip up or anything like that. As the Vikings are pouring in and starting to like kick down doors and stuff, like his concentration slips as he like looks off at something that's happening in the distance, and you immediately like dart forward. The axe comes down, like buries in between like the armor in his shoulder and just into his neck. There's like a spurt of blood, and he goes limp and kind of like falls down to his knees.
I think one issue with this is that the fight is small enough that Harald doesn't have a chance to go into like full Ulfhednar going crazy, seeing red mode. It's more of a case of, okay, I'm not gonna lose my mind over 4 guys in, you know, with rusty swords and brigandine patched together armor. I'm not like, no, we don't need to do that.
No, it's more mechanical than that, I guess. It's like going through the motions. So, and when he like goes down to his knees, there's just a quick kind of like swipe and head flies, and then we are presented with what I would call a very classic Viking montage of doors being kicked down, people being slashed with swords and axes, a little bit of fire and screaming and smoke, and everyone running around, and you know it's all chaotic and hectic for a while. All those classic scenes that I, in my magnanimous wisdom, I'm not going to make you all describe in great detail.
Appreciate it.
Now all be horrible people and do all the horrible things.
Yes. So a little bit later, the remaining survivors are brought out, and one of whom being essentially like the headman, the mayor of the village, whatever, who is dressed a little bit nicer, has, you know, like quite fancy clothes, and has jewelry and even a couple of rings that are gold, a couple of gemstones in them. Of course, most of this has already been grabbed and, you know, thrown into the communism pile.
I love that. Yes, into the socialist pile. I love it.
I would say, as either experienced raiders who have been on raids with the Jarl a fair amount, also as mercenaries who, I would say, like, correct me if I'm wrong here, Sven seems to be in charge of the mercenaries for a given value of in charge.
Yes, it's very fluid, but it's like I'm the talker, I guess.
What I would say is, when someone needs to converse and negotiate, it tends to be Sven, I would say.
The group usually trusts me to talk on our behalf.
I feel like the vibe of the group is anyone but Aki.
Yeah, if Aki is talking to the Jarl, somebody's like, "Hey, buddy, what you guys talking about?"
Aki, not again. You've been put in timeout. No, bad Aki.
The dude is as like aware as a wooden board. Like he's a great fighter, but that has no understanding of like social awareness. He has no social awareness.
That is a good point.
He's a great fighter unless he has a bow and you're in front of him. But besides
Right?
that, he's
God, what did I do to you, man?
Oh, brother.
No!
So I
Come on, tell me I'm in a fucking building.
So could everyone please roll me? Let's have a look here. What would be the
Dodge?
Dodge?
No.
Damn it.
So it would
That'd be too easy for me.
In this instance, it doesn't quite have what I'm looking for here. You know what? Let's just.
I was
go
thinking of luck or something like that, but there's like no
Yeah.
luck. Yeah.
For this instance, I'll say spot hidden.
Okay.
Oh, triple fail.
Oh, come on!
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
His arrow splits into 3 and smacks all of us square in the back.
No. So this was to see if any of you see the shot, where essentially.
Oh, okay.
He's there with his bow, and he sees, you know, this like soldier kind of running away, you know, like discarding his sword and his shield so he can run faster, making for the exit. And there's this like dramatic music, slow motion. Aki like spots him, like pulls an arrow from the quiver, like knocks it and lines up, and the music swells and then looses, and the arrow just goes flying into the forest. The guy gets away, and he like looks around.
It's like the scene from Lord of the Rings with the fucking Uruk-hai.
Yeah.
And he pulls back to go for Boromir, lets go, and it just goes. Just Boromir's like, the fuck was that? All right, bye.
Man, that could have gone so
That's
much
so
worse
great.
for me.
Yeah. Oh my god, I love that.
However, as all of you failed your spot hidden roll, none of you noticed the. Well, you all rolled 70s, mid 70s. There's 75,
Went
76,
straight to
shit.
and 77.
Holy
I
crap.
haven't rolled anywhere near anything I've rolled today. It's just been like as bad as it can be.
Yeah, you've been oof today.
But yes, I just wanted, for the sake of the almost the meme at this point, I wanted to see if Aki did any. He's got 60 in bow. That's pretty good. I don't know why he's missing it.
Yeah.
It's the Legend of Aki. That's why.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Legend of Aki.
Mhm.
What would it be? Aki's snake arrow. Because the arrow just snakes. No accuracy on that
Goes wherever the
motherfucker.
fuck. Yep.
He specifically makes his arrows out of the most bendy material, so it just bends. in the wind.
Ah, yes, I found this new wood called balsa wood. I've decided to make my arrows completely out of balsa wood.
It turns out Aki was the first person to discover and process rubber, and all of his arrows are just made out of rubber. But yes, what I was going to say is most likely in this situation, the majority of the Vikings are still just scouring the edges and, you know, finishing the raiding part of the raid on this town. But the few survivors are brought out to the Jarl with Vigdis there to translate. And the Jarl, once they're all there, kind of looks at the mayor person, the person in charge of this little settlement, and starts questioning him.
Is there? I had a quick question. Like after like the main fight happened, would I have remembered any of the shit I heard from the Draugr I saw? And I was wondering if I could like repeat anything I heard to now that I know this other shield mage is a translator.
I would say yes, but I would say you'll probably have to wait until after the questioning.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
all I would say is, like, if you were all stood there and the Jarl was like, hey, so, Englishman, tell me about stuff, and you walk up and you're like, by the way, Vigdis, like, there's this weird, like, fucking, you know, sorry.
Yeah, I was just curious. I was just thinking out loud again. So.
I would say, also, you can probably get a vague idea of whether it's similar to the language you heard, just from their talking. So I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay. And the Jarl starts off asking, how is it that you have all of these plates and cups and mugs and jewelry of gold and silver and precious jewels. And through Vigdis, the mayor starts off kind of begging for mercy and kind of pleading, saying that, you know, there's more even, you know, they can take you to more of this, you know, plunder and loot and everything if you'll just let the rest of them go and just leave them in peace, and, you know, talking about some god or whatever. And through first up, as this is a reasonably equal thing and the Jarl is open to let's call it audience participation, feel free if you want to posit your own questions in here. However, seeing as it's quite difficult to have a one-way conversation with yourself, I'm basically going to broad strokes what the questioning is. So if you want to get your own questions, then do let me know. We can figure that out too.
Sven just would have just been like, "Where's the ale?"
I mean, there was a kind of public house tavern type building.
Oh, okay, cool.
Where
I didn't think this place was as big enough to have one of those things. Great.
It's
Oh my god, it's got more than 2 houses. Obviously, there's a pub. It's England.
Yeah, it's England. Yeah.
So you're right. You're right.
I was
You're
surprised
right.
it wasn't more than 3.
You're right. Okay. Never mind. Redacted.
Yeah. It's England. Next to every house is a pub.
Fair enough.
But yeah, there's a few casks or kegs, depending on how you look at it, of ales, beers, you know, etc. So nothing too heavy in the spirits department, but enough to be satisfied with. I will also say, like, while this hasn't been a difficult fight, it has taken a while, because a few of the Viking. Oh, we lost second goobers.
Audio goobers disappeared.
What-
Yeah.
yeah.
Audio Goobers is gone.
That makes me think of the audio jungle in you know the music music videos, like, and it's like playing music for you, and it's like audio jungle. Don't worry, guys. We'll be back to normal looks in a second. I honestly
Enjoy my forehead.
yeah, and my top of my top shelf. Am I?
Oh wait, my mouth is the storyteller now. Ha ha ha!
There you go.
I am the guy now. I decide what's happening. Everyone gets gold. Gold for everyone.
I mean, that's already happening. Help! Wait, is there? Are we full on audio issues here? Or like rejoining issues? Oh, you need to. If you jump into one of the other voice channels, I can drag you in. All of the others should be free.
Can he hear us? I don't think he can hear us. He'll have to
Oh.
listen to the.
Yeah, you can see he can't get back to the call. He says in the chat.
Yeah, can you tell him that he can jump in one of the other voice chats and I'll bring him in? I can't switch because it'll capture that instead, which yeah. It'll make the visual. Yeah, there you go.
There he goes. He's in another one. Okay.
Hello?
Done.
Hi.
Oh.
The
And
hell was that?
all of the yes, all of the cams are in the right place and everything.
Okay. Sorry about that.
I honestly thought it was gonna be my Discord that messed up, so.
It just booted me. It
Yep.
just straight up booted me out of the channel for some reason. It didn't even boot my other account, Twinkie Bibs do. All right, chat. Don't ask about Twinkie Bibs do. That's rule number 1 in wandering in. We don't talk about Twinkie Bibs do. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
So, I've lost my train of. Yes.
Sorry.
We were questioning him, and if anyone had any questions to throw through the Ural. Well,
Yeah. But before I roll into just a vague description of what the conversation's about, would anyone throw in any questions of their own?
I'll be like, Leaf will be like, what monsters are in these woods?
And
What cursed entities have taken over your woods?
and
Something like that.
Victus like kind of hesitates for a second and then kind of semi-half-heartedly like throws the question at the headman, who just answers kind of flat-toned at this point. And then she looks back at you and she says, "No one's seen anything in the woods, in the forest. I don't know what you're talking about."
And Leaf is like about to like go shake this motherfucker. Like, what is in the? Yeah, he's gonna do it. He's gonna go grab the fucking the chief and start shaking and be like, what is in your woods? And just start shaking him and like
Whoa.
spitting in his face, like not like spitting, like he's like screaming and just like grating his teeth.
Yeah.
What is in your woods?
And I think a couple of the other Vikings like move forward and like kind of grab you and pull him off him, and the Jarl says, "Leave. I still need this one alive. If you want, you can go and question one of the others afterwards about whatever it is that you're hooked up about."
I don't want to kill him. I want to know what I saw in those woods.
No one saw anything in the woods. There was nothing in there.
I saw something.
Sven is overhearing this and is very intentionally pretending like he's not interested or he doesn't understand. He's in complete denial. But he's just trying to, like, he is listening, but he's like also like,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing.
I love the idea that while they're having this serious conversation, like trying to get information, in the background you hear as a guy comes flying out a window.
Yeah.
And then Harald comes out like, "Don't run from me!"
grabs him by the foot and drags him back in the house.
Back in the
We're not done!
Exactly. Come back here.
There's like an impromptu fight club happening in the like, anyone left over who can barely fight is just like being forced to.
I just see the fingers in the dirt going.
Grabs onto the side of the door, is it like, no, and then
Yeah, exactly.
We're not the monsters here. No.
No, the guy dressed up as a wolf, ripping people to
Yeah.
shreds, covered in blood and guts. He
might be the monster.
Might be a little bit of a
Might be.
monster.
yeah. Turns out, Leaf, there were monsters in the forests. You were walking,
Yeah.
you
It
were
was
walking
us!
with them.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, essentially, the conversation the interrogation, let's call it, that is had is the Jarl questioning where the jewelry came from, where the fancy frippery came from, as the majority of the people here are just regular peasants, or just regular farmers or villagers, you know, that type of thing. But all of them have at least like one little brooch or even like a plate or you know, cutlery or whatever that is quite ornate and quite fancy, gold and silver and etc. And after some questioning and so forth, the headman explains that there is a mine nearby. It's the reason for the settlement being established to set up essentially some mining, excavating the precious materials. It is nothing extravagant, but it is enough for a small settlement to not only extract a decent amount, but also keep a few souvenirs and so on and so forth. And he says, there is essentially what would be considered like a shipment, I guess. There's a big whacking cart of precious minerals, metals, in the mine, and a lot of it also goes to the church up at the top of the hill.
Sven hears this and kind of like kind of see, like, could you see the church from here?
I would say it is starting to get a little bit dark. The sun is starting to go down. It is a fair little distance away, and there are kind of trees all around. I'd say yes, you can see it. It's a little bit hazy and distancy. You know, like England, clouds, bad weather, etc., etc.
Got it.
Yes, yes, but not clearly.
Got it.
Enough to see that it's a fair ways up a hill.
Got it.
The mine is a little bit closer. It's not too much of a trek away. Probably like 20-30 minutes there, and another 20-30 back. So once everyone has finished messing up the villagers, and you know, everyone who needs to die or is going to die dies, the Jarl says, "It looks like there is more here than we were expecting. So we are going to camp here tonight. And in the morning we will head up to the mine. For now, I think, even though it is a bit further away, it sounds like there is more to be gained by going up that hill. So, everyone gather your stuff. We will send these few people back to the ships. And we will head off in about 10 minutes. So, everyone kind of like agrees and cheers, because there is a significant amount of, you know, generally sparkly gleaming things already, which are going to be sent back to the ships as well. I would say, it wouldn't be considered rude, Sven, if you wanted to leave one of your people with the loot, but it's also not required. It depends whether you want to, like, have a protection on your investment or not.
100%.
Okay.
100%. Absolutely gonna do that.
There's a little bit more interrogation, and the headman essentially says that up on top of the hill is a small cadre of priests. Victus has a little bit of trouble with the translation. She's like, I think he said priests. It might be monks. It might be general religious
figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the Jarl says, we will leave most of our people here to keep the town in our control so we can come back to it. It sounds like there aren't any more warriors at this church. They're not going to put up any type of a fight, so he looks around, kind of partially picks people at random, but also the people who are more experienced and aren't going to lose their shit, go crazy, and start just hacking away. Obviously, you three are all chosen, although Sven, you are offered to come along if you want. Obviously, you can bring people with you from your retinue.
Yeah, I mean, I would bring. Well, so I would leave. Well, we'd leave the one at in the town, and then we would. I don't know. I'd probably bring. Is the Jarl bringing everybody, or are they just bringing a few people?
Just bringing a few
Oh, okay.
people. And enough that
All right.
if there happens to be a couple of warriors there and the headman's lied, then you'd be able to deal with that. Enough people, essentially, that even if there's a force of soldiers there, you'll be able to fight defensively and back off and, be fine.
Gotcha. Then I would probably
10,
just bring
15
like.
max.
Okay, I would probably just bring Aki, and yeah, that'd probably be it.
Okay. In that case, things kind of move reasonably swiftly on from there. The one staying starts like kicking open doors, claiming places to crash. There's a nice big fire built up in the center. Few bodies are thrown on it, but mostly the bodies are kind of dragged out and thrown into a pit, pretty much. And the rest of you, led by the Jarl, head up towards the church. Hillside religious place.
That thing on the hill, that's really fucking weird.
Yeah. It takes probably around about 40-45 minutes to get to. However, even though it's a reasonably long trek, it's actually easier because there is a proper path, like, between the town and the church. So you don't have the same experience as before, where you're like trekking through the forest and it's all overgrown.
Right.
The sun at this point is starting to set over the horizon, and at this point, like, it was never really sunny or a clear day. At this point, it's starting to get a little bit foggy, a little bit overcast anyway above you, and I'd say probably as you're starting to see the place come into proper vision, as you're starting to get close, it does start to trickle very slightly, just kind of droplets of rain, not anything heavy or anything like that. And yeah, I think honestly, the next set of what happens is you walk up with the Jarl at the front, walk up to this kind of church. I have a question. Do any of you have experience with like Christian churches or?
I would imagine so, yeah.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, that probably different raids and stuff
mean,
like that. Like, there has to be at
just
least
from
like
yeah,
iconography at the least,
we would recognize like the church, like the crosses and shit like that. I
Yeah,
would
cross-
assume.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. Is there what's the feeling amongst all of you as towards the Christians with their one, idea of one God?
I mean,
That-
it's kind of I would assume it's very similar to like Americans now and like Scientologists. Like we see Xenu and we just think he's silly and we just like, oh, you're just you and your imaginary gods. Well, the Christians in America are like worshiping spaghetti sky monsters. But like, yeah, it's just like
Well,
they're
The
It's just like-
attitude of the time wasn't that your god is made up. It was a case of, okay, so you have your god. It's henotheism as opposed to polytheism or
Yeah.
monotheism. It's henotheism. It's not denying the existence of other gods. It's just claim that yours are better. So I would imagine someone going, "Yeah, we have Christ." I'm like, dude, your god is nailed to a piece of wood up
Yep.
on the wall.
Yeah.
Our gods, live and breathe and do things for us, and yours is dead.
Quiet and dead. Yeah.
he says draw. He comes back after 3.
As a drawer.
Jogger, I meant.
Yeah, no,
that's what-
I would agree with that. It's just like
See Christ on the cross going,
It's
But yeah, look at it as an inferior.
yeah. So it's not like hate or respect. It's more like disdain kind of vibe.
yeah, or even dismissal. It's
Yeah,
kind of
dismissal.
Yeah.
you can believe whatever you want. Just know that you're fucking wrong,
Okay.
and
Yep.
your god is puny compared to
Almost
you
like if-
only have one.
Yeah.
Silly,
maybe in like
silly.
rare cases like pity. Like
yeah, I mean a little bit.
you're so unfortunate to only have this sad excuse for a god kind of a thing.
Okay. In that case, as you walk up to the church, there are a few lights, torches, or lights from the inside, and there's no one outside. And as the Jarl makes it to the kind of big wooden front doors and like puts his hand against it, he like pushes and it just opens. You'll honestly, I don't unless any of you would say differently, I don't think anyone really like charges in gusto, kind of like, yeah, let's.
Nah, doesn't seem like the attitude. It
No,
just
we-
seems yeah.
And that also we would be familiar enough that like these are not warriors
Yeah.
in here.
Yep.
So it would be akin to like, hey, let's go slaughter peasants because we're bored. No, it's a case of, well, they're not going to put up any resistance. Let's just take their shit and leave.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
If they get in the way, they'll regret it. But it's, I mean,
Yep.
that's,
Give him the chance at least.
Yeah. There inside there is candelabras of like some are like kind of bronze or other like basic metals, but others are like gold and silver and very very impressive, ornate like goblets with like jewels in, all these type of things. On the walls there are multiple like iconography, like little statue bits of a figure like standing there with their hands like in almost like a Y, like praise the sun kind of like pose.
Interesting.
And I will say, like, there is definitely a lot of symbols and things like that. I don't know how well you're familiar with Christian iconography and churches. I would.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you'd like I would say that like Sven would know like the cross and stuff, and like maybe you could see a guy nailed to a post or whatever, nailed to the cross or whatever, but like if this isn't matching up, like I feel like if it isn't matching up to that, he would notice.
Yeah. Okay. In that case,
I probably wouldn't.
yeah. I'd say in that case, like, kind of like the iconography is similar, but different enough that it because they're all the same. It's always guy on the cross, like there's no cross, and there's no like the iconography, the symbols, etc. They aren't the same.
But wouldn't we be kind of used to that? Because if you go look at Norse iconography, it's not all identical. There's variations and everything. So I think we would probably expect that from. We would not. Would have no reason not to expect that. I guess.
Yeah.
That's fair. I can see that. I still think that Sven would be kind of maybe. This is new.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a thought.
Or like even like it gives us like we know it's off, but we don't know why. Like it just gives us like you can tell there's like a weird vibe to it compared to like what you would expect. Like it's almost like if you go into a Church of Satan or something like that, and whereas like a lot of things are similar, but then like you start noticing, oh, instead of a cross, there's a pentagram, but it's still like kind of got the same vibe, but just like a twisted version of it.
Mm-hmm.
In the when you walk in, as you take in these and you like start walking forward, there are no like pews. There's nowhere to like sit or anything. It's open floor. At the far end, there is a small huddle of priests, assumedly, in these kind of like red, dark red crimson like robes. Some like candles around them, and in the center of this kind of like symbol or something, whereby they are. The majority of them are laying down. There is one that is like paying you no attention and mumbling in this kind of like chanting style. As you kind of walk in, there's no real sense of urgency unless any of you have that. The Jarl kind of like wanders off to the side, like picks up one of the goblets and like turns it around and kind of like starts appreciating it and says, "Hey, this is some pretty good stuff. I'm glad we came here instead of the mines."
It's been kind of just like looking around, nodding his head. Just seems to be pretty well filled with goods for us.
And the Jarl kind of like calls over and says, "Hey, Harold,
Yes.
do you think the gods would look favorably on us if we burned this place down, or do you not think it's worth it?"
Well, fire is cheap.
May as well hedge our bets and burn it down anyway.
Hmm.
And he kind of like walks over and says, "Hey, Vigdis, I need you to translate again." And they walk up and over to the like circle of priests that are there, and like grabs the one who's like sat down and chanting and like pulls him up. There's kind of like a kind of strangled like noise as he's like dragged up, turned around to face him, and I'd say at that point you're probably close enough. If you've gone with the Jarl, you're probably close enough to see that the priests are actually lying in a fairly, I'd say at this point, fairly drying pool of blood. The majority of them aren't just lying down, they're actually the producers of the blood. The majority of them are dead, aside from this one. They all have this kind of like, these kind of like deer skull, like almost helmets that they're wearing with like the antlers coming out, and when the priest is turned around, he too has this kind of like antler helm on his head, and he starts kind of babbling in this language that the majority of you do not recognize. Vigdis also says, "I don't understand at all what he's saying." Leaf, you recognize the language. It sounds very similar to it sounds very similar to the language you had heard in the forest.
And he's gonna walk up and like grab this motherfucker. Like even like did the y'all have him like
The Jarl
whatever
has
like who was
him,
picking him up?
like, yeah.
Okay, and he's gonna like grab his like by the neck or by like what are you? What are you? What is this? What is in these fucking woods? And he knows he's not gonna get an answer, but he's
Yeah.
just like it's frustration and anger and fear and
the Jarl like kind of gets in your way a little bit and pushes you back and says, "Leave. I don't have time for this and for your own personal agenda, whatever it is."
there's no y'all. There's no agenda. I had something come after me in those woods. And if it came after me, it can come after the rest of us. I want to know what that was. And these people aren't right. You can see they're right, not right. This witchcraft, this whatever it is, something's wrong here, y'all. There's something wrong in these woods. There's something wrong in this church.
Sorry,
There's something wrong here.
a Viking saying "y'all" just like broke me for a second there.
Yeah,
There's
Sorry,
something
like,
wrong
it
here,
sounded like
y'all.
Yeah.
y'all,
there.
y'all. Sorry.
Also,
No, no.
Sheepy, we do have a hard cutoff now because Goober needs to.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just I'll finish that up. But yeah.
It's good. We're very almost there. So
Yeah, for sure. I figured.
Vigdis like starts trying to talk to him and speaking in the like call it Old English language that the Anglo-Saxons use, and finally like the Jarl knocks the skull off the priest's head, revealing a very normal looking person, and he starts responding in the same language with Vigdis, who says he's saying something about defilers and saying that we're not welcome here and that the land will claim us. It's all priest mumbo jumbo essentially, and the Jarl like looks around and says, "Does this seem like what you would expect of Christians? Any of you? Maybe this is some older religion, like some older gods, possibly."
Doesn't look like anything I've seen in a raid, y'all.
Yeah, Sven would have been like, no, this is different. This is very clearly different. It may be something similar to, Christianity or to what we've seen before, but we've not seen this before.
If the Jarl looks at Harald, he just goes, no knowledge whatsoever. It's the case of, how the fuck should I know? They're Christians. They do weird shit.
And the Jarl kind of like pushes the priest back a bit, like arm's length, but keeps grabbed onto his robes, and says, "Well, in this instance, we don't really need any of them," and like pulls a knife out and just pulls the priest towards him and just like rams the knife up into his ribcage, like staring at him like almost like nose to nose as he like gasps and wheezes, and the light starts going out of his eyes, and the priest says something which none of you really know. The Jarl like kind of quizzically looks over at Vigdis and says, what was that he said at the end there?" As he kind of like lets the priest like last gasp like fall to the ground, and Vigdis looks at the Jarl and says, he said death is the beginning. And we'll end there for today.
Oh, great.
I would just have loved
Great.
I would just have loved Harald to say, bring out both the axes and they're like, okay, let's send them on their journey.
Ah, for fuck's sake. We found a fucking nightmare church.
Hey, found some druids.
Wonderful.
Found
I'm
some old
so
English druids.
excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this fucking bullshit.
It's like the bad guys in Alan Wake 2, or like a lot of these, like even the Wrong Turn reboot, the deer like head antler things. Yeah.
So in the in respect to Goober's hard out and time and everything, we only have one super chat, so I'll hit that really quickly, and then we can do outros, and we'll be out of here, y'all.
Jarl.
No.
So, Damned Man, thank you very much for the super chat. Here's a question for all the cast: what is the worst thing in English folklore that you could come across? Would it be as bad as friendly fire?
My immediate response was chavs.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't really think that's English folklore, though.
Not at this stage where we are now, but nowadays, definitely.
English folklore? I'll be honest. I got no fucking idea.
Yeah,
I don't know
I have
any English folklore.
Yeah.
Sheepy, I think,
mean,
could
we-
definitely assist us on this, but I don't have a lot. Don't have a lot.
And there's lots of random American folklore, but yeah, we're talking about English folklore. Yeah.
I mean, dragons are English folklore.
Oh yeah, I guess that's
Yeah.
right. That is fair. Yeah.
That would be pretty bad.
Would dragons be worse than a friendly fire? No, because I'd see it coming.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't be worse than friendly fire. It would just be a different kind of fire.
True.
It would be dragon fire.
I'd say the I can't remember what they're called, but there's the things that lead travelers into like
Will-o'-the-wisps?
Yeah, into swamps and stuff.
Yeah, will-o'-the-wisps.
It's not it's not really like it's not really like scary exactly, but it's definitely a bad thing to run into because you get lost and then you get drowned in a bog or something. I hate the idea of being like drowned in a bog. Like bogs are scary.
You also have the what's the name of the fucking barghest? The ones that actually made into monsters in D&D. They're actual like the monstrous black dog thing from a very Hound of the Baskervilles style.
Yeah, Hound of
that would be,
Baskervilles as well.
that's very, very scary.
I would say probably Black Annis is the one that
Yeah,
springs to
the
my
hag
mind.
thing, right?
Yeah, like think like Baba Yaga kind of vibes to a degree. Like
Yeah.
that kind of like evil old witch in the
And Loch Ness Monster.
yeah. But that's less scary because it's in a loch. So
Yeah, we don't know what a loch is at this stage,
And-
but
he's in the water. We're not fucking with that shit.
This at this stage, the Inverness tourist trade is very much in a little bit of a slump because they haven't invented Nessie yet.
So Black Annis essentially like would skin children and like use their leather as like clothes.
I would never do that.
But yes, that is the answer I would go for, and the rest of these people are not English, so they know none of our lore, aside from a little bit from LDT. Fun fact, I was talking to one wonderful person from America who, when I mentioned that Peachy was Welsh, he asked, is that an actual place?
We
I
talked about Finland earlier. I mean, Finland doesn't exist according to a lot of people now.
Finland's like elfland. It's like a place where elves live.
Mhm.
Anyway,
I mean, I've seen rare exports. I know what happens there.
shall we do quick outros and then finish up?
Yes.
Let's
that'd
start
be great.
with the most occulted person, which is this time Rod.
Okay. Well, you could find me on Twitch at Rod_Johnston. I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. My horror podcast is called Murder Moose. Me and Continue just talk about random shit. And then yeah, I just have my book that's out that's called The Death and Rebirth of a Human Heart. So that's out there. So yeah, that's all my shit. So
Cool. Throw it over to LZ Team.
Hi, I'm LZ. You can find me at Twitch and Twitter and Instagram and any other place where you can find someone called Lima Zulu Tango. It's probably me because no one else has that stupid of a name. Yeah, I do leatherworking and I do games and stuff. And in about a month and a bit, I'll be done with my semester for university. So I'll be streaming a lot more. So come say hi. Also, check out the Patreon and the website, wanderinginnet.
Oh yeah. And finally, Gubulon.
Hi, my name is Goobulon515. No, my name is Goobers515. I'm a full-time streamer. You can find me everywhere at Goobers515. I'm currently playing through this year's Souls event, where we play a Souls game, and I'm playing Lies of P for the first time. That is happening, well, tonight, depending on when this uploads or whatever. But I'll be playing that almost exclusively until it's done. There's all sorts of weird shit where I put on glasses and become Pinocchio and all that good stuff. It's a whole show. So yeah, I'm a full-time streamer. Follow me at Goobers515 and hop into my Twitch channel and join my Discord. That's where the rest of the community is and the rest of the party is. So yeah, thank you so much, and do go check out the Patreon here and write an intro for Sheepy, because I want nothing more than to hear you guys rip in a new one to start the stream. That'd be great.
I really hope that because you've now mentioned it a couple of times, we're going to have someone be like, all right, Goobs, I'm going to write an intro, and then they just write one that like disses you instead, so I have to read it out.
They never do that.
But yes, so seeing as everyone else has bigged up the Wandering Inn, I don't need to. Thank you for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show, and hope to see you next week for the continuation, where everything is perfectly normal and this system isn't Call of Cthulhu. Anyway, bye!
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 I hate the system.